even as we try to talk about a transition to clean energy, shale producers have been behind a huge surge in economic activity for the United States, a huge concept of U.S. oil independence. And now we've seen shale production fall off substantially during the pandemic and not really come back as much, no longer thought of as the swing producers. How important is it, in your view, to get that production back up and running at the capacity that it has versus the discipline that we're hearing out of the CEOs from a lot of these companies?
Well, I think this is a really important question because the world, as you know, is moving to clean electricity, clean power. And natural gas, an important baseload fuel, has some problems with clean. I mean, it is cleaner than coal, certainly, but it has methane emissions, which is a very potent greenhouse gas. It's got CO2 emissions. What's interesting is in the framework that was announced yesterday, there are a significant amount of money for demonstration projects in what is known as carbon capture and sequestration, which could be used to decarbonize the fossil fuel sector. And that, to me, is another very important technological step and a step that helps our climate goals. And it's technology that can be used here, but also help around the world to decarbonize and everybody get to the goal that all these countries have signed on to, which is at the Paris Agreement, that we get to net zero carbon emissions by 2050. I think that will help. Those kind of technologies will help for this for the oil and gas sector, the gas sector in particular, to be able to ramp up production, but in a way that is clean.
Governor, just quickly, just to round out this interview, what's the future? What's the role of the SPR in this administration?
It's an emergency stockpile, essentially. In case we have, obviously, it was something that was generated and particularly important during like the oil embargo and the OPEC crisis.
Is it still relevant?
We have this as an important measure in case there is shortages, in case we need to have it, and so we're going to keep it. And in fact, it's underneath the Department of Energy, and we're putting it into a section of the Department of Energy that responds to emergencies.
So why is it being used to raise money? Is this an emergency?
Every year, I'm telling. This is not new. This is not a new thing.
I understand
at all.
that you do get a release, but to raise money to pay for an infrastructure plan, that feels a little
honestly,
original.
Every year Congress uses it to pay for something or another that may not be related to the reserve itself. So the reserve will be solid. We've got lots in the reserve. It will continue to be there for the purposes for which it was intended. But it also has this mechanism that it's being some of it gets sold off every year for other reasons that Congress wants to fund.